Chosen one, your destiny is unlocking tonight. Watch closely. God has guided you here for a reason, and what you're about to hear will shake the very foundation of your life. They have felt every setback like a door slamming hard in their face, every disappointment like a shadow crossing the sun. They have wondered if they were forgotten, if their prayers vanish into empty air. Tonight, that changes. Tonight, hidden truths will blaze a path through their doubts and reveal the divine plan unfolding around them right now. Skeptics may scoff, but the evidence is written in their own journey, and the time for hiding has passed. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with us until the end, because what you learn next will reshape the rest of your life. Divine identity and calling. They have spent countless moments feeling like a shadow in their own life, watching others receive the spotlight while their heart ached for a glimpse of purpose. They wake up to the same routine, shoulders heavy with the weight of expectations they can't meet, and dreams they fear are too big to claim. In the quiet hours before dawn, their mind replays every misstep, every missed opportunity, fueling doubt and whispering that they are destined for nothing more than a life of obscurity. Yet beneath that restless ache lies a deeper stir, an unspoken knowing that these feelings of frustration and confusion are not signs of failure, but the first tremors of a power waiting to be unleashed. They are not broken or beyond hope. They are on the verge of discovering a truth that has always lived in their soul. They have felt ignored at work when their ideas, vibrant with possibility, were brushed aside as impractical. They have watched friends celebrate milestones while their own prayers echoed unanswered, and they have wondered whether their gifts were illusions, fantasies born of desperation. Rejection has cut them like sharp stones, leaving scars they hide beneath polite smiles. At times, they could almost taste the bitterness of believing they were unworthy of anything greater. In their search for meaning, they turned to self-help books, motivational speakers, and late-night internet searches that offered temporary comfort but never the lasting clarity they craved. This sorrowful quest for identity shaped them, forging a hunger for purpose so intense that when the right key finally fits, they will recognize its call without hesitation. Then comes a turning point, when they realize their pain was never random but deliberate preparation for a divine destiny. In the lesser-known prophecy of Micah 2 verse 13, it is written that the breaker goes up before them. They break forth, pass through the gate, and go out by it. Their struggles were not meant to hold them back, but to train them as breakers, rewarded not for avoiding hardship, but for using it to blast open doors that no one else could touch. Each tear they shed was an anointing for resilience, each setback a lesson in strategy. When they understand that every closed door was a forge shaping their spirit into something unbreakable, their past transforms from a series of disappointments into a blueprint for a life of unstoppable authority. Now they begin to notice subtle signals that this transformation is already in motion. A quiet confidence brims in their voice when they speak, as if an inner echo amplifies every word with truth. Strangers turn to them for advice in moments of crisis. Sensing the wisdom they carry even before a single phrase is spoken, they catch themselves standing taller, shoulders back and head held high, as though they are already walking the shoes of the person they were always meant to become. Opportunities that once fell out of reach now appear with uncanny timing. A mentor reaches out at the exact moment they need guidance. A project unfolds perfectly under their direction. Doors open without effort. These are the footprints of divine timing, aligning their path with a precision that no earthly planner could achieve. Behind the scenes, something miraculous is at work. Synchronicities multiply in their life, and coincidences become the language of divine orchestration. They receive an unexpected message just when doubt threatens to overwhelm, or a chance encounter introduces them to someone who becomes a collaborator in their calling. In Psalm 75 verses 6-7, they find reassurance that glory does not come by human power or strength, but by the Spirit. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. Their rise is not a matter of competing harder, but surrendering to a spiritual alignment that redirects every force in the universe to lift them higher. What once felt like random trials reveal themselves as carefully laid stepping stones. They stand at a crossroads where recognition of these signs demands more than mere acknowledgement. It calls for wholehearted embrace. Many falter here, afraid that stepping into such a role will expose them to ridicule or force them to relinquish the safety of anonymity. The unknown looms large, and the mind recoils at the thought of trading comfort for the turmoil of growth. Yet true alignment requires more than seeing the path. It requires courage to walk it. This is the sacred moment where they must choose between clinging to old fears or stepping into a destiny that has always belonged to them. To hesitate is to leave their purpose stranded on the threshold of fulfillment. Now that they see the pattern of divine identity weaving through their life, they can actively claim it. They can begin each morning with a declaration of their royal purpose, speaking quietly or aloud. I am chosen. I am anointed. I am prepared to lead. They can seek out mentors and communities that reflect their emerging identity, finding allies who believe in their potential and challenge them to grow. In moments of doubt, they can turn to the scriptures that first spoke to their soul in a time of need and let those words reignite their confidence. They can step into opportunities that once intimidated them, knowing that they carry a spiritual authority that no earthly force can diminish. With each action taken in faith, they cement their new reality. Their journey from unseen to anointed, from overlooked to destined, is more than personal transformation. It is a beacon of hope for countless others. As they walk forward in this identity, they become living proof that divine selection is not a fairy tale, but a tangible reality. They stand as living testimonies that the one who ordained their birth has equipped them with everything needed to fulfill their calling. Comment chosen if you feel this truth resonate deep within you and claim the mantle that heaven placed on your shoulders. Special thanks to our devoted members who carry this mission forward with their unwavering faith. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Preparation through pain. They have carried every cut, every bruise, every sleepless night as if it were a mark of shame, convincing themselves that nothing but defeat awaited them. In the quiet moments, they have questioned whether their fears were warnings or simply the echo of past failures. They have heard voices, some inside, some from others, whisper that their dreams were too big, that they were too broken to ever rise. Yet beneath those whispers, they feel a pulsing truth. Their pain is not a prison, but a portal. It is the cracked shell that allows golden light to seep through. If they lean in, they will discover that their wounds are invitations to a deeper strength, hidden truths waiting to be claimed. You are not alone in this journey. Many have walked this path before you, and the revelation that follows will transform every tear into testimony. They have endured moments that felt like the world closing in, a job offer retracted without explanation, a relationship falling apart just as hope flickered, friends moving on while they stood rooted in uncertainty. Their spiritual journey felt like wandering a labyrinth with no exit, every turn leading to another wall of doubt. In the dark, they have curled into a ball of self-reproach, convinced that their suffering was proof they were unfit for any higher purpose. They have scoured the internet for answers, read every motivational quote, attended every seminar, yet the weight in their chest remained. Each attempt to fill the void felt temporary, a bandage over a wound that demanded real healing. In that isolation, they learned the bitter taste of unanswered prayers and the sting of unseen tears, shaping a longing for meaning so profound that mere comfort would never suffice. Then comes a turning point, when they recognize that their pain was never random but part of divine symphony. In Habakkuk 3 verses 17 to 18, the prophet declares, "Though the fig tree does not bud and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God my Savior." This radical choice to celebrate in the midst of loss becomes their anthem. Every heartbreak, every setback, every door slammed in their face is a crucible forging their soul for a destiny greater than comfort. They begin to see that suffering produces resilience, and resilience shapes character. Their trials were never punishments, but sacred workshops where their spirit was tempered, readying them to carry divine fire without being consumed by the flames. Slowly, they noticed the subtle shifts, signs of transformation quietly stirring beneath the surface of everyday life. In moments they once rushed through, they now pause and feel a gentle warmth in their chest, a reminder that new life grows in stillness. Dreams that once felt random now unfold as a tapestry of prophetic insight. each thread revealing a piece of their purpose. Like Elisha's servant in 2 Kings 6 verse 17, whose eyes were open to see chariots of fire surrounding him, they begin to sense protective forces arrayed on their behalf. They catch themselves smiling at challenges that used to crush them, as if an invisible hand has rewritten the script of their response. These are not coincidences but signposts, clear as dawn's first light, guiding them toward the breakthrough they have long awaited. Behind the scenes, a divine architect is at work, clearing obstacles and aligning circumstances with unerring precision. Doors that were bolted shut now swing open with gentle persistence. The perfect mentor enters their orbit. An unexpected opportunity appears when confidence returns, and relationships once strained blossom into sources of profound support. In Psalm 65 verses 5 to 8, it is written that God answers us with awesome and righteous deeds, O God of our salvation. This reality unfolds in their life as mountains move and valleys rise. Every synchronicity, every burst of sudden clarity, bears witness to a power greater than human effort. Their pain was never a test of endurance alone, but a divine setup for the elevation they now experience. They stand at the cusp of full awakening, aware that the door to transformation has creaked open, but now must be pushed wide with their own resolve. It is natural to hesitate here, clinging to the remnants of who they were, because the unknown trembles with risk. Many turn back, letting fear whisper that the old suffering was safer than the uncertainty of purpose. Yet Lamentations 3 verse 40 challenges them to let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord. True alignment demands more than noticing the signs. It requires stepping through them into the identity designed for them. This is their sacred crossroads, the moment to choose growth over comfort, destiny over doubt. Now, empowered by every lesson of pain and every sign of divine alignment, they can seize their next steps with boldness. They release the shackles of self-doubt and declare their worth out loud, affirming, I am more than my scars. I am prepared by grace. They commit to practices that fortify their spirit, early morning reflections, seeking wise counsel, and serving others from a place of overflow. They reach for opportunities once too daunting, confident that a power greater than human strength accompanies every stride. In this renewed posture, they embrace their role as conduits of healing light, carrying the fire forged in their deepest trials into every encounter. Their journey through pain was never a detour, but the main road to their purpose. Each trial was a step in the choreography of their awakening, every tear a seed planted for harvest of hope. They stand transformed, not despite their suffering, but because of it, embodying resilience and compassion that only crucible-born spirits know. Comment strength if this resonates with you, and claim the truth that your pain was preparation for power. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Unlocking overflow. They have felt the sting of empty pockets as sharply as any wound, watching others enjoy milestones that seem forever out of reach. Every morning feels like a rerun of the same story. Bills piled high, opportunities elusive, and dreams fading like morning mist. They have whispered prayers into the void, hoping for even a drop of relief, only to find silence in return. In these moments, it is easy to conclude that abundance is a lie, a promise made to everyone else but them. Yet beneath that despair lies a quiet truth. The promise of overflow is not some distant fantasy, but a reality waiting to be claimed. What they think of as scarcity is actually the soil in which the seeds of divine provision have been planted. In the tension between drought and promise, they stand on sacred ground, poised to discover that their vessel is meant to brim, not to drip. They have known the crushing weight of schedules that leave no time for rest, the frustration of doors closing just as they thought they'd found a way in, and the gnawing fear that they are unworthy of better things. They have wondered whether the world's solution to their lack of resources is simply to work harder, as if their value is measured by the exhaustion of their labor. In the darkest nights, they have questioned whether financial freedom, vibrant health, and rich relationships were ever meant for them. Their spirit has stretched taut with longing, as though they might snap under the strain of unmet expectations. In these raw, vulnerable moments, they felt cut off from the divine current of abundance. Yet every pang of yearning was part of the design, a divine invitation to seek a deeper well that never runs dry. Then comes a turning point when they see their hardship not as a life sentence, but as the anvil upon which abundance is forged. In Deuteronomy 28, verse 12, it is promised that the Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse's bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. This lesser-spoken verse illuminates the truth that their toil has been noticed and will soon be multiplied many times over. Their setbacks have not been penalties but preparation, like fields left fallow in winter to build fertility for the spring harvest. When they shift their perspective from scarcity to divine stewardship, they begin to see that every closed door has been a necessary turn in the labyrinth leading to the treasure chamber. The realization that their work is sanctified brings profound relief, for they now understand that abundance is not earned through struggle alone, but received through faith and surrender. Almost imperceptibly at first, they begin to register the signs of transformation around them. An unexpected commission arrives just when funds seem truly depleted. A friendship rekindles into a partnership that bears fruit beyond anything they could have planned. They notice new energy coursing through their veins, as if vitality itself has been invited back into their cells. Ideas flow like a river unblocked, and with them come practical steps to manifest those visions. The sunrise seems more brilliant, as though the sky itself celebrates their coming breakthrough. Simple acts, sending a well-timed email, planting a garden, offering help to a neighbor, now yield returns that defy logic. These moments are not coincidences, but signposts placed by divine hands, guiding them into the overflow that has been patiently awaiting their arrival. Behind the scenes, an invisible host is orchestrating the fine details of their breakthrough. They glimpse synchronicities that feel like breadcrumbs, an overheard comment that sparks a business idea, a chance encounter at a cafe that becomes a mentorship, even a fleeting dream revealing a solution to a long-standing problem. In Haggai 2 verse 8, the Lord says, "The silver is mine and the gold is mine," reminding them that the riches of heaven are not distant, but held in reserve for those called to steward them. Their journey has not been a test of endurance to see how long they could suffer, but a divine elevation designed to align them with their true provision. Every closed door and every silent prayer has actually been a setup for the grand release of blessings that leap from the storehouses of heaven straight into their hands. At this threshold, awareness is no longer sufficient. They must choose to open their hands and receive without reservation. Many resist this moment, fearing that abundance will change them or burden them with new responsibilities they don't feel ready to carry. They worry that generosity will expose them to exploitation, or that prosperity will carve them apart from the humble roots they cherish. Yet true alignment demands more than spotting the signs. It calls for wholehearted surrender. This is a sacred crossroads where they decide whether to cling to the remnants of fear or step boldly onto the path of overflow. To hesitate is to leave blessings unopened. To embrace is to unleash a current that will sustain not only them, but all whom they touch. Now that they recognize the divine orchestration at work, they can claim their new reality with confidence. They speak declarations of abundance each morning, affirming that their cup is not half full but overflowed. They create space in their budget and their schedule to receive, tithing time and resources as tokens of trust rather than mere obligations. They cultivate gratitude practices that tune their hearts to the frequency of provision, and they stretch forward generous hands to share before they feel comfortable, trusting that giving is the fastest route to receiving. By stepping into these actions, they anchor the truth of overflow into every area of life. Their identities shift from one of lack to one of stewarding divine riches, equipped to nourish their families and uplift their communities. Their story of waiting in the drought transforms into a testimony of rivers running in the wilderness, of storehouses opening in the night, of dreams made tangible in ways that defy human calculation. They become living proof that the promise of Psalm 23 verse 5 is not poetic hyperbole, but an urgent reality for those brave enough to stand in faith. Let this truth echo in every corner of their mind. Scarcity was never their final destination. Comment overflow if this resonates with you and claim the destiny of abundance ordained for your life. Rise into your purpose. They have felt it deep in their bones, as though a distant drumbeat echoes through every cell of their body, calling them to step beyond the mundane. In moments of silence, that rhythm grows insistent, vibrating to the mind and shaking loose the doubts that once held them captive. They wonder if they're imagining it, if the ache in their spirit is merely wishful thinking. Yet it persists, a relentless summons that refuses to be ignored. You are not alone in this stirring. Countless hearts around the world pulse with the same unstruck bell, waiting for the moment when it finally rings. This is no ordinary nudge. It is an invitation into a destiny far larger than any they dare hope for. Something extraordinary beckons, and the path to it begins the instant they choose to answer. They have spent years waiting outside closed gates, peering through iron bars opportunities that seemed reserved for others. Their creative sparks were dimmed by the weight of not enough skill, not enough support, not enough courage to claim their place. Endless days of preparation felt like aimless wandering, and every rejection carved out deeper into their soul. In their quietest moments, they questioned whether their gifts mattered at all, whether their vision for impact was a foolish fantasy. They poured out their hopes in journals that gathered dust, longing for the day when their whispered prayers would be met with doors thrown wide open. The struggle to find meaning in work that went unnoticed, words that went unheard, weighed on them like chains forged in disappointment. Yet this crucible of longing was also the very place where purpose was being honed. Then comes a turning point, a revelation that nothing in their journey has been random. In the lesser-cited prophecy of Zephaniah 3 verse 17, it is written that the Lord rejoices over you with gladness. He quiets you by his love. He exults over you with loud singing. In that moment, they understand that their frustrations were never meant to break them, but to prepare them for a higher calling. Every setback was a note in the soundtrack of their anointing. Every closed door a necessary pivot toward the corridors of influence they were meant to walk. They feel a quiet shift in perspective. Their past is not a record of failure, but a roadmap of preparation. The same divine hand that orchestrated their trials now reaches out to lead them into a realm where every skill, every lesson, and every dream aligns with sacred purpose. Now they begin to notice signs of transformation blossoming like flowers in unexpected places. A chance comment about their work ignites fresh enthusiasm, as if someone has recognized the blueprint they carry within. They wake with ideas so vivid that they leap from bed to capture them before they vanish. Their dreams become arenas where vision and strategy entwine, revealing the contours of their next steps. Even the weather seems to conspire. A sudden breeze whooshes through an open window just as clarity floods their mind, or a shaft of sunlight breaks through clouds precisely when doubt threatens to return. These shifts are not coincidental, but markers of divine timing, aligning their talents, opportunities, and energy in perfect synchrony. They see that the universe itself is bending toward their rise. Behind these transformations, unseen forces clear the way with meticulous care. Connections form without effort. A mentor appears just when they need counsel. An email arrives in their inbox that contains the very contact they prayed for. A passing stranger shares a story that mirrors their own journey and offers unexpected insight. In the lesser-known verses of Haggai 2 verse 23, the Lord declares that his chosen are rubbable like a signet ring, symbolizing authority and favor. They realize that behind every coincidence is a divine signet, imprinting value and purpose upon their path. Their struggles were never mere tests of endurance, but deliberate setups for divine elevation. Every synchronicity becomes evidence that their rise is fueled by a power far greater than mere human ambition. At this moment, awareness of these forces demands more than passive observation. It insists upon full embodiment. Many recoil here, afraid to walk into a role so grand, concerned that stepping into divine favor will expose them to jealousy or cynicism. They cling to small roles because the unknown can feel riskier than familiar limitations. Yet this is a sacred crossroads. Recognizing the signs is not enough. True alignment requires embracing every aspect of their calling. The visibility, the responsibility, the vulnerability that comes with leadership. They must choose to step into their power without hesitation, trusting that the same love that led them through every trial will sustain them in every triumph. Now, empowered by this revelation, they can claim their place in the story unfolding around them. They speak declarations of purpose each morning. I am called. I am equipped. I am ready. They reach out boldly to collaborators, present their ideas without apology, and stand firm when criticism arises, knowing that divine favor undergirds their efforts. They refine their spiritual practice, reserving time for reflection, seeking out community, studying scriptures that reinforce their mission, and they let their growth be the signal that draws others into movement. In every action, they act not from fear or hesitancy, but from the unwavering conviction of one who knows they are chosen for impact. Their emergence is not just a personal victory, but clarion call to those still lingering in doubt. As they rise into purpose, they shed the isolation that once defined their journey, becoming a beacon that guides others out of darkness. They demonstrate that divine destiny is accessible to every soul brave enough to answer the call. Their life transforms into a living testament, proof that the rhythm beating in their spirit was never a false alarm, but the drumbeat of destiny drawing the world into alignment with higher plans. Comment purpose if you feel the stir of this calling within you, and claim your right to rise. Building a spiritual legacy. They have stood at the edge of their own breakthrough, hearts swelling with relief at the shift they finally experienced, yet a quiet ache lingers. Will their victory matter beyond today? They watch others celebrate momentary wins, only to see those triumphs fade without lasting impact. In those moments of doubt, they question whether every tear shed, every soul healed, every prayer answered is destined to vanish like footprints on sand. They feel the weight of potential slipping through their fingers, fearing that their story will end with them instead of echoing down the halls of time. Yet in this tension between triumph and emptiness lies the invitation to something far greater, a legacy that will outlast their own days and shape the generations to come. They are not alone in this longing. A divine purpose pulses beneath the surface, waiting to be unveiled. They have poured themselves into causes that spark their passion only to watch the momentum stall when they turned away. They have guided friends through crises, shared revelations in small gatherings, only to see the flame flicker when life's demands pulled them in other directions. They have wondered why their own breakthrough felt so private, why the walls around their heart keep the light from spreading. Each moment of isolation, each time their efforts met silent walls, cut deeper than any rejection. They have questioned whether their spiritual gifts were meant only for their own upliftment, or if they carry a wider mandate they have yet to comprehend. These internal struggles of wanting to matter beyond themselves have shaped their journey toward discovering how deeply their life can resonate. Then comes a revelation that every season of breakthrough is the seedbed of legacy. In Paul's charge to Timothy, he writes, "And what you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also." 2 Timothy 2 verse 2. This lesser quoted instruction reveals that their experiences are not for personal archives, but for multiplying impact through others. Their breakthroughs, their teachings, their testimonies are all precious seeds meant to be sown into fertile hearts. When they grasp that each act of faith becomes a strand in an ever-growing chain, their past efforts take on new significance. They see that the trials, the insights, the gifts they carry are the raw materials of a spiritual inheritance that will outlast any single lifetime. Now they notice the first signs of this unfolding legacy in subtle yet unmistakable ways. A message arrives from someone they mentored years ago, sharing a breakthrough sparked by a word they once spoke. In unexpected circles, their own story becomes a lighthouse, guiding others safely through storms. They catch themselves smiling at small victories, children quoting a truth they taught, colleagues applying a principle they unwrapped years prior, strangers reaching out to express gratitude for a moment of clarity they provided. Even the tiniest ripple, a shared link on social media, a short conversation in a waiting room, carries the power to ignite new movements of faith and healing. These moments are not mere echoes of past kindness, but the living proof that their influence is expanding beyond any boundary they once imagined. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen," to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members for fueling this mission with your faith and generosity. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Chosen one, the final word has come. Let your destiny unfold.